All right, everybody, welcome to the Studying Brew, episode 926. On this beautiful night, we are going to have Hard Hitting Wednesday or Free Content Wednesday. We've had a lot of different names for Wednesday, but one thing's for sure, we're going to learn something today about retirements. Oh my goodness, that's exactly why you're all getting these licenses, isn't it? A lot of investing, a lot of retirements. A lot of you want to know how to expand that legacy, learn to help out your family, learn how to get your family to that next level, or maybe your community, or maybe your friend. I don't know, but we're going to talk about them retirements. You know why?
Why?
Because it's heavily tested.
Yeah, and it's like something that never goes away.
It never goes away. Turns out, never goes away. So we're going to talk about that tonight. But my name is Andy. I'm the guy that runs the back office over here at KonaButterflyz. But you're not here for me. And what my explanations of retirements are, you know, you're here for Brandy's. She's got her Series 6, 63, 26, Series 65, and her Series 7, which makes her more than qualified to teach you all the things you need to know. So that way you too can get a pass notice. So let's just get to it right now, Brandy.
Okay.
Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Oh my goodness. It has been a tiring week already, and we're not even into our football summer camp with our son. And I'm exhausted. I'm like, I need to go to bed. But you know, the one thing that we've been telling him, and it's true for all of you, look, a lot of you might not be great at exams. A lot of you might struggle with exams. A lot of you might not even like taking exams. A lot of you might not feel like you are smart enough, right?
Yeah.
Some of y'all, just being real, a lot of you feel like you're just don't have the intelligence for it.
Yeah, I hear that. We hear that.
We hear that all the time. And today I literally had to, what do I want to say? Constructively talk to my son today about that. And, you know, you guys need to take your small victories and run with them. And remember, it all points to the fact that you are able to do this and you can do this. If you can get a question right, you probably can do this.
If you can get a question right, you can probably get more right.
If you can stay consistent, you can do this.
Yeah.
If you can be disciplined to do what you need to do, you can do this. If you can be coachable to what we're trying to teach you, if you're a member, you can do this. Guys, I'm telling you right now, persistency, consistency, and determination win out natural talent all the time.
Yes.
All the time. All the time.
All the time.
All you got to do is just make it happen and keep that positive mental attitude. We say it all the time. And if you haven't joined us for our member stuff, and you want to get into that exam mastery stuff, you want to get into those study sessions, you want to hear Brandy talking about that and how she breaks down these exams, and you want to be a passer like Alejandra last night, who said, you know what, I love the fact that you taught me everything and it was so simplistic. Mm-hmm. If you want that experience, just scan the QR code, hit the links. Guys, join in. We got our whole self-study program, the 21-day plan. It is the one that everybody copies. The 21-day plan is out there for the SIE, the 6 and the 63, the 26. We got something for the 65. It's a 30-day program.
Yep.
We have more 65 passers than most of those other study preps out there. I'm just saying that. Kona Academy, join us. We got that if you wanted the guided. It starts next month. We're pretty much wrapping it up now. Yeah. But if you're in that 21-day plan, guess what? As Brandy wraps it up, you're like, hey, I want to get into that session. You can. You can. We have study guides, SIE 6, 63. We got something going for the 26. And then Brandy's been cooking on that 65 lately. So we will have that soon. And then we'll have the Kona community. We have that Discord. You guys can go ahead and get in on there, get answers answered, get questions answered, something like that. Yes. Get into a study group, get an accountability partner in there. Look at all the free stuff we have available in there. Use it as the study tool that it is. 951-290-3077. That's the phone number. Also, we got Telegram. We got the Insta, right?
Yes, we do.
All right. Tomorrow we have some member sessions happening. We got the SIE. We got the Series 65. And guess what else we have? Small group tutoring. Sweet. So if you are in any of those member sessions, go ahead and make sure you check those local listings. Get in on there, because the local listings there will tell you what time to show up. Guys, I don't know if you're in the mountain. I don't know if you're in Central, but it's on the screen. So make sure to take note and be there at that time. Look for those reminders that already hit your email. And if you're in the academy, make sure that you do your homework and look what's going on the next day. It'll help you prepare.
Yes.
All right. You ready?
Yes.
Wow. Retirements. Let's go.
Retirement.
That's the subject. That's the topic. If you
Yes.
want more about this, if at any time you go, wow, I wish to go into it more deeper and deeper in depth. I wish I could have taken a screenshot of that. Can you go back and pause? Can you look? Can you go ahead and stop that so I can take a screenshot? No, that's what the replays are available. Catch us on Patreon, Discord, Facebook, Telegram. What else am I missing? I don't know. We have them at Patreon.
Everywhere.
Guys, go get yourself the replay, pause it all you want, but we're going to move through this material. And if you really like it, guess what? Our members has a lot of stuff on retirements. We even have some tables, some charts, some stuff that really help you explain it in a different way if you need audios, videos. So, Brandy, let's do this.
Let's go. All right, guys. So I think that we have to talk about qualified and non-qualified before we can talk about retirements.
Oh, yeah. You can also catch us on YouTube. And by the way, if you're watching this replay on YouTube, hit the subscribe and the notifications.
Yes.
Thanks, Eric, for the reminder.
All right, guys. We have qualified. We have non-qualified. Man, it's a lot to write out. All right. So we have qualified. We've got non-qualified. Qualified means that it's pre-tax contributions, right? And honestly, the only thing that I can think of that
401k.
do pre-tax contributions, yes, a 401k, but how about we just make it more broad and say employer plans?
Employer plans.
Like you have to have some sort of employer involved to do pre-tax.
Right. Someone's going to pay you,
Yes.
and then they take it out
Yes.
and they put it in this vehicle.
Right. I'm going to put this most employer.
Not all of them,
Most.
but most.
But I have been
You're
thinking-
extending it past 401ks.
Yes. And we're going to talk about them. But I've been racking my brain to think of anything that is pre-qualified that's not an employer plan, and I cannot think of one or hasn't been rolled over from an employer plan. So in my opinion, I think that if it's qualified, it has to stem from an employer plan. It has to come from.
So the way I keep it is it's never been taxed at all.
Yeah.
It literally is straight money that you got and then put into an account, and Uncle Sammy hasn't even touched it yet.
Exactly. So that is why the entire distribution is subject to tax.
Because Uncle Sam needs that money.
Right. Now, these are tax deferred accounts. Tax deferred
Those F-23s aren't going to build themselves.
accounts, right? Which means that that means tax deferred, which means we're taxed later, we're taxed on withdrawal. That means no capital gains ever. So we get no capital gains tax in a tax deferred account, and we get taxed as ordinary income only.
It's ordinary.
It is ordinary. It's just your tax bracket, basically. Right? So some examples of this qualified plans would be, like you said, the 401k, a 403b, a defined contribution plan.
Is
Which
that
is
where a
basically-
457 fits in?
No. And a defined benefit plan. We'll talk about
Look at me.
457s in a second.
Look at me, just helping you out here.
Yes. Benefit plan. Now, the contribution maximum on these three things, the 401k, the 403b, the defined contribution, is in 2024. In the year 2024 is 23,000. Okay. So in 2024, the maximum contribution is $23,000 into your 401k or your 403b or your defined contribution plan.
In the year 2024.
All right. Now, our non-qualified plans, if qualified is pre-tax, that means non-qualified means after tax.
Income doesn't matter. Put somebody in the chat. I don't know if that was a question or a statement.
I will say this in after tax contributions. I will say this. If you make less than 23,000 a year, you can't put 23. So the way it's worded, and thank you for this. The way it's worded is this: 100% of income up to an indexed amount. Okay, whichever is lower. So if I make 100,000, I can only put in 23,000. If I make 20,000, I can only put in, if I make 20,000, I can only put in 20,000. Does that make sense? So 100% of income up to an indexed amount, which is in 2024, 23,000. Okay.
Boom.
Great question. After tax contributions. These typically are our self-contributing plans. What does that even mean? It means you are putting in the money. You are putting in the money. These are our IRA, our Roth IRAs.
Okay.
Our annuities, which those aren't typically accounts, but they fall under retirements, right? IRAs, Roth IRAs, annuities. Now, Andy brought up the 457.
See.
Now, technically speaking, the 457 is a non-qualified plan. But when it comes to non-qualified employer plans, these are actually deferred compensation plans. Now, if I said deferred compensation, does that sound like pre or after tax? Does deferred compensation plan sound like pre or after? How about not yet paid? What? Did you say not yet paid? I did say that. Not yet paid. So technically speaking, this is neither pre nor after. This is money that hasn't even been paid yet. So it hasn't been taxed yet because it hasn't been paid to you yet. Isn't that crazy? It's like if your salary was 500K a year, and you decide to defer, like let's say you defer 200 deferred, right? That means you're only getting paid 300K now. That's your taxable income. This is going to be later when you retire. Crazy. You can consider it not realized because it hasn't been paid. It's kind of like there's one for you, two for me. One for you, two for me. And then that kind of goes put off to the side until retirement. Okay. Now they're called straight up deferred comp plans, or they're called the 457. And the great thing about the 457 plan is that it is a deferred comp, but guess what? You can actually access the money, you can access your retirement at the age of 50. So you can actually retire at age 50. These 457 plans are usually saved for government employees, police, fire, because they typically retire earlier. Okay. You have to retire with the company. Okay, so let's talk about these deferred comp plans just a little bit in detail. Okay, so deferred comp plans, right? And the 457. So you guys see how we are deferring part of our salary. So every year, instead of getting paid 500, I'm actually getting paid only 300, and 200's going into like the pot over there. Now, because it was brought up, let's talk about it. Yes, in most cases, you must retire. Well, let's erase must retire. Let's say it like this. If you terminate your employ before retirement. Okay, guys, now look at how I'm going to word this. You may forfeit the collected compensation. What I'm saying is this. If you've got like 10 years of $200,000 sitting over in a deferred comp plan for you, and you decide to quit, you get fired, you may not be entitled to that deferred compensation.
It's not yours.
Now, in some cases, and it's always up to the employer, it's up to however your contract is, right? But they don't have to give it to you.
No.
Right. And the other thing is that if the company goes bankrupt, right? If the company goes bankrupt, well, probably they don't even have your money anyways. So you become a general creditor.
Ooh.
Which means one of the things about these deferred compensation plans is that they're typically saved for older or highly compensated employees, because it's not like every company is around for 40 years. Does that make sense? If you start a deferred comp plan when you're 20, by the way, if you're making 500 grand when you're 20 years old, congratulations on that job.
Good
Right?
job.
That is a great job. Right? But
You can move on to shopping at Target.
yeah, because if that company goes bankrupt before you're 60, right? Because that's a retirement age, 59 and a half, you might not be entitled to it because it may not exist. So that's why they save the deferred compensation plans for older, highly compensated employees.
Because it might not be there.
Because it might not be there. Right.
And then, youngster, you should have invested on when you had that money.
Right. Exactly.
That's why it's not a good idea to go buy yourself a Lambo.
Right. All right. So a couple of things about retirement plans. Okay. Just in general, generally speaking. One, you typically have to be 59 and a half, with the exception of the 457. You get a 10% penalty for early withdrawal. For early withdrawal.
Even if you're just 59?
Yeah, you have to be 59 and a half.
So if I just turned 59?
No, it has to be 59 and a half.
Or I get what? 10%?
10% penalty and ordinary income.
They ain't messing around.
Yep. You get a 6% over contribution penalty. So don't over contribute.
So, like, you're getting penalized for over contributing?
Yeah. Okay. You guys got to understand. The reason why these set limits on these things is because they're doing you a service by not taxing you annually.
So you're saying is if I over contribute, I'm almost saying like I'm trying to like not be taxed on something.
Right. But I will say this, most firms and the IRS do give you a chance to withdraw that overage before you file taxes, so you avoid the penalty.
They're all okay. Time to take that out.
Yeah, like come on now. You got 2,000 extra in there. Why don't you take it out before you file your taxes? You'll be good. April 15th, by the way. The other thing is you get a 25% penalty for RMDs not taken. This is a very common question. You guys are ready for what the next common question is? What the heck is an RMD?
Required
distribution.
distribution.
Minimum distribution.
Required minimum distribution.
It's a required
I don't know why the M is so hard for me to remember.
distribution. See, what happens is that the IRS says, okay, you guys got to understand, back in the day, people used to pass away early. That's why retirement is at 59 and a half, right? People didn't live much longer past that. And that's really sad to think about, but it's the truth, right? So, you're 59 and a half, you go, you know what? I had such a great life. I'm not even taking my 401k. I'm not taking anything out of my 401k yet. Well, the IRS goes, you're going to die soon and we want to start taxing you. So can you please start taking out some money? And we'll set a required minimum that you have to take out annually. It's going to be based on your gender at birth. It's going to be based on your age. It's going to be based on all these things. And we're going to have these pre-existing formulas that we have that are very complicated. And based on how much you have, that's how much you have to take out annually. And if you don't take out that much, we're going to tax you on the entire amount. And we're going to give you a 25% penalty for what you didn't take. They're very serious about their RMDs.
Like I said, them F-23s ain't gonna get made by themselves.
Right. So that's what that is. Now, let's talk about, do I have the time? Yeah. Let's talk about the difference real quick between the traditional and the Roth IRA.
All right.
Traditionally IRA. And guys, on your tests, you see it as just IRA. So if you just see the words IRA, they're talking about the traditional IRA.
You have to assume that.
Yes, that's one thing that you are allowed to assume.
There's not a lot you can assume in this world, but that you can.
But that is one that you can do.
So note that.
Right? Now, the maximum contribution between both. Okay. So the maximum contribution between both is this. It is 7,000 or 8,050 or older. Oops, not 500. 50 or older. It's called a catch-up period. And that's your max. Between the two, per individual per year.
A lot of
Sorry,
that.
I know you were going to say that. I try not to.
I'll just change it up.
It's because my mic is straight. Anyways,
It's
that.
I'm not going to get into the technicality of it. You're just going to see some adjustments on that microphone soon.
Right? So that's both, right? So if you have a traditional over here and a Roth over here, you can only do 7,000 or 8,000 if you're over the age of 50 per you, no matter how many IRAs you have. Okay. So per you, no matter what. Now here's, yeah. So why do we buy a traditional? Well, we buy a traditional because we want a tax deduction. And the amount that we're able to deduct is based on our income, right? So the tax deduction is going to be based on your income limits, or based on income limits. At some point, you make too much money and you can't deduct your contribution anymore.
Can't deduct no more.
But you can put money in. So you can put the money in, but you can't deduct from your taxes anymore. So a lot of people say, well, my tax guy said, you're gonna pay 6,000 in taxes, or you can make a $6,000 contribution to your IRA.
Either you pay Uncle Sam,
Mm-hmm.
or you can maybe invest a little bit of that and then pay Uncle Sam later.
Right. And we're subject to RMDs at age 73. And if you roll over a qualified plan, so you roll over, let's say, your 401k, this stays tax deferred. So if you want your money to stay tax deferred, you put that bad boy into a traditional IRA. Okay. So that's some things about traditions. Roth. Well, the great thing about Roth IRAs is that these are tax-free on withdrawal. Oops.
You know why?
Why?
It's already been taxed.
Both of them have.
Yeah.
These are both non-qualified unless it's a rollover.
But it's been taxed.
You have to be at least 59 and a half. And not or. And the account has to be open for 5 years.
So I'm 59 and a half, but I only had it for 4.
Then you have to wait one more year.
I've only had it for 4 years, but I'm not 59 and a half.
You got to wait until you're 59 and a half.
You have to have both.
Both criteria.
Both.
You open a Roth IRA for 58-year-olds, they have to wait until 63. If you open a Roth IRA for a 29-year-old, they got to wait 30 more years.
It's kind of like when you take your kid to the amusement park and they go, you got to be this tall and you got to be above or older than the age of 11.
Right. Exactly. Now, these are subject to income limits.
Because even if you're a tall 5-year-old, you're still not riding.
Right. Right. If you make too much, you can't contribute. Keep that in mind. If you make too much money, you can't contribute.
No.
And also, if you roll over a qualified plan, it is going to be taxable in the year you roll it over.
So if I roll it over in 2024,
Mm-hmm.
it's taxable this year?
Yeah, when you pay taxes for 2024.
Yeah, 2024 tax.
Yeah, it'll be added to your ordinary income.
Because you know why? You got more money.
Well, yeah, and the thing is that you're going to take money that's never been taxed and you're going to put it in this thing that is tax free. Yeah, right. Like the IRS is going to allow that.
It's like Tiger Woods said, more money, more problems.
Exactly. So definitely keep that stuff in mind.
But it's a good problem to have.
Yeah. So before you tell people, oh, we can roll over that 401k, guys, if they're like 58 years old and they've got like a couple $100,000 sitting in 401k, that'll be a bad idea. Right? I mean, obviously they consult with their tax person, whatever. But guys, adding 200.
What's that word? Creates a
taxable event.
Yes.
If you have them roll over 200,000, I can guarantee you that's increasing their tax brackets.
You'd have some mad clients usually if you create a taxable event.
And there's not enough time for them to recoup that cost by the time. It will take a long time to recoup that cost.
I know I sat through Brandy's, like sometimes when she does investments for people, she like underscores in her tonality when she tells them this will create a taxable event. This will create a taxable event.
And by the way, they will always ask, well, how much? It's based on your ordinary income. But how much is that? Okay, well, when that happens, you Google it and then you can kind of figure, yeah, but I need a dollar amount. I'm sorry, I'm not a tax professional. I can't tell you a dollar amount, but I will say this, please consult with your tax professional.
And we also don't know how much you're going to make next year.
Don't have a clue. You need to consult with your tax professional. I'm just telling you the pros and cons of doing this. It's all cons.
And then Brandy goes, I'm not Cleo.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not Dionne Warwick either.
So if you take a 401k,
I got no psychic friends helping me figure out how much you're going to make.
So if you take a 401k and you put it into a traditional, it stays tax deferred, no penalties. Everybody's happy, happy, happy.
I always see him on, but I never know if he's ever listening.
I know. And
I love Luis. I miss you.
Yes.
You need to come over.
But if you take a 401k and you put it into a Roth, it's going to be taxed and it will add to your income limit that year, or it'll add to your income that year.
By the way, Luis has like all his licenses. He's passed almost all his exams. Yes. He's on every single night since day one. He's our day one guy.
He is our day one guy.
He is day one.
Yes.
And I love him and his wife. So shout out to them. And thank you so much. Yeah, look at them. They're so cute. If you're on live, you get to see them. Luis and Brenda. Love you both. All right. Well, everybody, we made it through another free content. That was all about retirements. It's not something that's not going away. And you definitely got to get in there and you got to learn it. And it does, like I said, it doesn't go away.
It doesn't go away. You need it forever.
And it's all tested differently as you go through the exams, but you got to know it. Mm-hmm. And I love the fact that when you guys study for this stuff, and I know there's a lot of people that are negative and they're like, well, I don't know if I'll pass these. I don't know if I want to study this thing, right? You just got an education on how money works and how retirements work and how some of these tax laws work on some of this stuff. That's knowledge. That's knowledge on things you actually use every day. High school, some of y'all, look, we can argue up and down. Do you really use geometry every day? No. Most of us, we don't. And if you do, it's probably because you're a teacher or, I don't know, for some reason you like to figure out geometry. Yeah, or an architect, a drafter, whatever. I don't know. No one's figuring out sine and cosine. Some of y'all don't even remember. You know why? Because you don't use it all the time. Do you know what you do use every day? Money. Yeah. Every day. Every day. And if it makes you feel good, geometry and money, shoot. Make triangles out of your dollar bills. I don't know. Anyways.
Make the little bow tie out of the dollar.
A little origami. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Like I said, we got member sessions happening tomorrow. We've got techniques. We got content tomorrow on the Studying Brew. Lots of techniques. Doing a little bit of content in there. But we're gonna have some fun. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, everybody, guess what? Oh, I forgot to say this at the beginning. Happy Juneteenth.
Yes.
All right, everybody. Stay safe out there. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Don't touch your friend's face. That's all I know. Keep that positive mental attitude. PMA, everybody.
Thank you guys so much for being on. We super appreciate you. Guys, keep your content simple. Find that connection in your quizzes. We will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great one.